Okay. So in the last class, we compared the electrolysis of aqueous copper to sulfate, one with the inert electrode where graphite is used as an electrode, and the other case is the active electrode where copper electrode are used, which are okay. Now, we can do the refining of the copper by the electrolysis, and that is basically the application of active electrode, where we are going to use the copper electrodes. The impure copper electrode is used as a anode, and the pure copper electrode is used as a cathode. Again, we are going to use the same electrolyte, copper sulfate. So what will happen that the ions from the copper sulfate, these copper ions, start attracting and then start depositing to the cathode, and the impure copper is basically oxidized and start dissolving as a copper 2 ions by losing the electrons and enters the solution. So see, if you look at these two diagrams, you can understand this. See, here I have an impure copper electrode, and this one is the pure copper electrode. So the copper ions from the solution, when moves and deposited over here, then at the same time, the copper ions from the impure electrode start entering the solution. As a result, see, it start dissolving, and all the impurities over here get deposited bottom, and all the copper which was initially impure is deposited over here, and that's why the size of cathode increases and the size of anode decreases. But the equations are going to be same as we discussed in the last class when we did the electrolysis of copper sulfate using active electrodes. The whole thing is same, but the only difference is this, that here we have used impure copper as an anode to make it pure. Okay, so complete this quickly. Who is there? Okay, Aisha is here. What you are reading? ये वाला when वो से कभी ना okay सारी रहेगा okay समझ में आ रहा है जी सर आप लोगों को समझ में आ रहा है okay Aisha copper platinum के अलावा सारे active electrode no copper is active see it gets dissolved in so it's active copper is active electrode graphite and platinum are non-active inert electrodes. Okay, complete this quickly. Is it completed?
No, sir, just diagram.
Done. Yes, Khatija and Aisha, is it done?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Sanu. Okay. Now, the observations are important. Examiner asks the equations at cathode and anode. You have to know how to make the equation. Remember, at cathode, always gain of electron occurs, so it is reduction. And anode, there is always oxidation. Then observation, as you can see in the diagram, the impure copper, the anode is the impure copper, its size decreases, and the cathode, its size increases. Okay. And as the copper ions in the solution and the electrodes are of copper, so the color of the solution does not change. The color of the solution only changes when we have a graphite electrodes and copper sulfate is the electrolyte. That's what we have studied in the last class. No, copper ions does stay same because as the copper ions from the solution depositing over here, the copper ions continuously entering over here as well from here. So there is no change in concentration of copper ions in the solution because there are active electrodes. If the electrodes are inert, like we have used graphite electrode or platinum electrode, then obviously there is a decrease in the concentration of copper ions because copper ions are in the solution which are depositing at the cathode and no more, and from nowhere the copper ions are entering in the solution. So it decreases and as a result the blue colors fades away. And yes, Khatija and Aisha, are you guys done?
Sir, I am done, but I have a question.
Yes, can you repeat, please?
Yes, sir. I have a question that what is the use of the external circuits here?
if there is no external circuit, this is the external circuit, right? Which is I'm right now highlighting the wires and the battery.
Yes.
If the external circuits are not there, then as see, if the copper turns into ions, enters in the solution, leaving the electrons over here. So how these electrons will move towards over here and provide the negative charge for a copper ions to get deposited and reduced over here. So always external circuit is there, which will move the electrons from anode to cathode
Okay, sir.
in each electrolysis. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, Sanya and Manahel, please. Okay. Now, everybody completed?
Yes, sir, single line.
Okay, do it quickly. Yes, now done?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the next application of electrolysis is electroplating. The most common example from which you can relate the electroplating is the jewelry. There are two kinds of jewelry. One is the one which is actually of the gold, and the other one is which is made from any other metal or alloy, and it is plated with a gold. जिसे आप कहते हैं वो सोने का पानी चढ़ा हुआ है, ठीक है, gold water. So that is one example, one application of the electroplating. That's how we can make an artificial jewelry look like a gold. In the same way, we do. If you have seen the outer parts of the cars and bikes, the alloy rims and the handles, which are very shiny. So these are plated with the chromium. The handles and the alloy rims are not made up of chromium, they are made up of any other material, and they are coated with the chromium, and that is also done by electroplating. Okay, so the basic purpose of the electroplating is to plate one metal on another metal, and the objective of this there are two things. One, to make its appearance more good, and the other one to protect it. So these are the two purposes. That's why we do the electroplating. That after the electroplating, the object appeals more, it appears more attractive, and the other objective is that it gets protected. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay. So in this, see, if you recall from the previous example, can anyone tell me on which electrode, cathode or anode, the metal is depositing? At cathode, right? So the object which I have to electroplate, I will be going to connect it with the negative terminal of the battery and make it cathode. And the metal which we want to be plated on that object, that metal is going to be connected to the positive terminal of the battery and called anode, because anode always dissolves.
impure
No, it's not necessary. For purification, we use the impure. Now it's not necessary. Now, in this case, because we want to plate an object with something. For example, there is another example of electroplating that usually Nowadays, not pure copper wires are used in many of the electrical appliances. They use silver or any cheap metal wires, and then they plate it with a copper so it looks like copper. So if I have to plate a copper on the, for example, electrical wires, so I need a pure copper to be connected to the anode and those wires to be connected at cathode. For example, if I have a silver ring and I want to plate it with a gold, so I have to connect that silver ring with the cathode and gold bar to the anode. For example, if I have a alloy ring and I want to plate it with the chromium to make it more shiny, so I am going to connect that alloy ring to the cathode and the chromium bar to the anode.
Or sir, not to act was like.
The electrolyte must contain the same cations which we are going to deposit on it. For example, when we want to do gold plating, we need a gold compound as an electrolyte. When we are doing the copper plating on the wires, we need a copper compound as an electrolyte. When we are doing the chromium plating on the aluminum or any other part of the car or a bike motorcycle, we are going to need a chromium compound as an electrolyte. So here I have discussed few examples.
सर एक्वस होगा इलेक्ट्रोलाइट
Yeah, usually we take aqueous.
और वो भी ले सकते हैं मोल्टेन
Yeah, but for molten, very high energy is needed because we have to keep it molten. We have to continuously heat it, right? Okay, so complete this. Then we are going to discuss these examples. See, one is gold plating on the silver ring, copper plating on the wires, tin plating on the iron canes. That iron canes are used to store food. Normally, iron usually corrode very easily, right? So if it will corrode, it will, poison the food. So that's why the food containers are made up of iron, but we plate it with tin, and tin is inert, it does not corrode, so it will protect the food as well. And then a chromium plating on aluminum or any other body part of the car or bike. Yes, Khatija and Aisha?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, please.
सर ये जो हम प्लेटिंग कर रहे हैं दूसरी चीज पर, सो ये रिएक्टिविटी सीरीज में ये ज्यादा रिएक्टिव होना चाहिए जिसको हम इलेक्ट्रोप्लेट दूसरे ऑब्जेक्ट पे कर रहे हैं.
Please, can you repeat your question?
सर आई एम आस्किंग कि जिस चीज को हम दूसरी ऑब्जेक्ट पर इलेक्ट्रोप्लेट करवा रहे हैं, सो दैट नीड टू बी मोर रिएक्टिव.
You are asking the metal which we are going to plate on an object is more reactive or less reactive, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the thing is that we discussed when the rules of cathode, when there are two ions, the one which is lower in the reactivity series is going to be reduced at cathode more readily, right? Yes, Khatija? Yes, what was the rule for cathodies to be reduced at cathode? It was the one which is lower in reactivity series will reduce first. It was the rule, right?
Yes.
So it means that when we are using the aqueous electrolyte, so the compound having a cation must be lower than hydrogen in the reactivity series. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Aisha, did you understand till here?
Yes, sir.
मैंने इलेक्ट्रोलाइट कौन सा होगा कैथोड वाला है आपने
On cathode, we have placed an object, right? And on anode, we are going to connect a pure bar, right? So that the pure bar dissolves and then deposited on cathode. So the electrolyte must have a cations of anode. Okay, I will share those. और उसके जो initial chapter में according to the second. जी. क्या हम आपकी प्लेलिस्ट करते हैं, सब्सक्राइब भी कर लें, उस पे ZTN की प्लेलिस्ट होगी और आप लोग भी उधर से सब्सक्राइब करिए ना, ZTN की प्लेलिस्ट होगी तो आप लोगों को initial chapters की मिल जाएंगे. तो आपने किया है सब्सक्राइब नहीं? क्या नाम?
नाम क्या है?
क्या नाम? अभी करो सब्सक्राइब चलिए. क्या नाम? क्या नाम? सर नाम.
सर आपका क्या मतलब है?
हैं?
आपका क्या मतलब है?
कंफर्टेबल क्रिएटर जी. इसकी प्लेलिस्ट में सेगमेंट्स को लेवल की प्लेलिस्ट है. Yes, everybody completed till here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Khatija and Aisha?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now see the case over here. In the first case, if you see, we are going to do a gold plating on a silver ring. So silver ring is going to connect with the anode. Gold is going to connect at anode. Sorry, silver ring is going to connect at cathode. Gold is connected at anode, and the electrolyte is gold nitrate. So what happens at cathode? The cathode is a silver ring, so the gold ions from the solution gains electron and deposited at cathode. So as a result, the silver ring turns golden because gold is deposited over here. And at anode, there is a gold, so that gold dissolves in the solution, forming its ions and leaving behind the electrons. That same same process occurs when we are going to do the plating of wires with a copper. So wires are going to be connected at cathode. Copper metal is going to be connected at anode. Copper sulfate is the electrolyte. That is how the equation shows how the wires got plated with copper.
सर आप एक दोबारा बता देंगे?
What? Which one?
ये एनोड से.
Yeah. For copper.
जी.
In each case, there is a simple rule. There are two electrodes. We know at cathode the positive ion deposited, right? Yes. So the object which we need to plate by some other metal, that object is going to be connected with cathode, because at cathode the deposition occurs. The positive ions attracted towards cathode and gains electron and get deposited. So whatever the object we need to electroplate, we are going to connect it with the cathode. And the metal which we want to be plated on that object, that metal is going to be connected at anode. And the metal which is connected to anode, we need the electrolyte containing same metal ion in it. These three are the rules. Clear now?
Yes.
Okay, complete this quickly.
Then to add a little.
Where?
ये electrolyte.
सर गोल्ड का सिंबल क्या होता है?
AU. It's written over here. All the symbols.
सर हम ऐसा इलेक्ट्रोलाइट ले सकते हैं जो एनोड और कैथोड का कंबाइन हो?
No, it is not possible because both are metal, right? So how there is a compound containing both the positive ions? The compound always have a positive ion and have a negative ion.
सर जो हमें मेटल की जिस चीज की प्लेटिंग करनी होगी वो एनोड पे होगा।
जिस yes, जिस metal की plating करनी है, that metal which we want to plate on other object, that metal is connected to anode, and the object which we want to be plated by a metal is connected to cathode, and electrolyte contains the cation of the metal which is connected at anode.
गोल्ड नाइट्रेट हाइड्रोजन में होगा?
Yes, because gold is less reactive than hydrogen. So yes, I didn't mention over there, but it is also aqueous. Let me write it. Because gold is below in the reactivity series, right? If you recall the reactivity series, below hydrogen there is a silver, then sorry, mercury, silver, gold, platinum.
तो सबसे नीचे जो होता है reactive
सबसे less reactive. These are the one is the least reactive, so that's why it is easily turned into its element form.
सर कॉपर भी होगी।
Yeah, below hydrogen there is a copper, then mercury, then silver, then gold, then platinum.
सर आप रिएक्टिविटी सीरीज लिखना
सर गोल्ड इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का अच्छा कंडक्टर है।
Yes. I think we have written the electroreactivity series over here when we discussed the reaction at cathode. You were absent, I suppose, on that day. Yes, Aisha and Khatija, if you guys have any question, you can ask, please.
सर पीएचडी कौन सा होता है?
Platinum.
प्लेटिनम सबसे लीस्ट रिएक्टर है।
Yes.
सर ये alloy rims क्या होता है?
Yes, Khatija.
सर ये alloy rims क्या होते हैं?
Alloy rims are on which the rubber tire is placed in the car. That are alloy rims. The silver part, the metal part inside the rubber tire is alloy rim. Yes.
Rims, na sir?
Yeah, rims. Besides this, in the motorbikes, you have seen that the handles and the mirrors, the backside of the mirrors are very shiny. So these are also chrome plated.
तो यार जो मिरर होता है उसमें chrome होता है.
No, it contains silver. Yes, everybody completed till here?
Yes.
Yes, Sania? Yes, Aisha and Khatija?
Yes sir.
Okay. Now, the next thing that is in our syllabus is hydrogen oxygen fuel cell. Okay. It is a fuel cell. So basically, it doesn't need battery. It basically works as a battery and provides electricity. And here, hydrogen and oxygen both are used as a fuel. And as they react, they'll produce electricity. And as they are reacting and producing electricity, that's why battery is not used over here. This cell itself worked as a battery. Okay, so what happened over here? See, from here, if you see, the hydrogen gas is being introduced. So when this hydrogen gas reaches over here to the electrode, it will react in this way. See, this hydrogen gas is forming what?
2H.
Hydrogen ions
Hydrogen.
and releasing electrons. So those hydrogen ions formed over here enters the electrolyte and electrons are left behind on the electrode. So as they left behind on the electrode, these electrons move from here towards there. So as they move, they will conduct electricity, and as they reaches over here, the oxygen which is over here, they gains electron and then they turns into hydroxide ion. So that is how this reaction is taking place on this electrode, and this reaction is taking place on this electrode. As a result, hydrogen ions and hydroxides are forming, and these hydrogen ions and hydroxide ions are entering in the solution. So when these two interact with each other, what they are going to form? No. There is a hydroxide
Water.
ion and hydrogen ions. When these two react, what will form? H2O. Yeah, so our net product is water. So that is the one advantage of this fuel cell, that it is not going to produce any pollutant, only water is formed as a waste. Yeah, sure. Yes, 1 minute. See, what happens? There is a hydrogen, right? When this hydrogen reaches to the electrode which is negatively plated, what? Yeah.
Right or not?
Yes.
तो उस पे इलेक्ट्रॉन एक वो पोजीशन में चला.
Yeah, it loses its electron over here and enters as hydrogen ions in the solution. Is this understandable? So see, this equation is represented by this. There is a hydrogen gas which turns aqueous hydrogen ions and lost 2 electrons. These 2 electrons are lost on the electrode. Yes, Khatija and Aisha, is this clear?
Yes sir.
Okay. Now what will happen then? These electrons will travel from the external circuit to the positive electrode, and as these electrodes reaches over here, the oxygen attracts towards these electrons, gains these electrons and turn into hydroxide ion doing this reaction. See over here. And if you see it, this reaction is exactly opposite to the reaction which is occurring at anode when in the electrolysis. because in this cell, the process that is taking place is exactly reverse of the electrolysis. Why? In electrolysis, we are providing the electricity, right? And here we are not providing the electricity, we are getting the electricity from it. So the reactions that occur in this hydrogen oxygen fuel cell are exactly opposite to the reactions which were taking place in the electrolytic cells. See, in that electrolytic cell, hydrogen ions are attracting or forming hydrogen, if you recall, at cathode. So see this equation, isn't it? It is exactly opposite to that. And in an electrolytic cell, when the battery is connected at anode, hydroxide ion forming oxygen plus water and releasing 4 electrons. If you see this equation is exactly reverse of this. There here oxygen and hydrogen are initially present and they are turning into hydroxide ion and hydrogen ions. So once hydrogen ion and hydroxide ions are formed in the electrolyte, these hydrogen ion and hydroxide ions bonds with each other to form water H2O. So the waste or the product of the process that is taking place in hydrogen fuel cell is water only, and water is not a pollutant. So that is the advantage over here. Okay. So if I have to write the net equation, what are our reactants? One is hydrogen and the other one is
oxygen.
and what is our product finally?
H2O.
H2O. So see, this is how we will make our ionic equation. Oh, sorry, net equation. Okay. Now complete this quickly. Yes.
एक्सिस फ्यूल क्या है?
The one of the see, we are continuously supplying hydrogen from here and oxygen from here. So the hydrogen which does not able to react and form hydrogen ions will escape, will get out from here.
और KOH.
KOH is the electrolyte, the solution in the middle. It's an electrolyte.
इसमें रिवर्स है नेगेटिव एनोड.
Yeah, that is another important thing. In the electrolytic cell, cathode is negative and anode is positive. In this cell, cathode is positive and anode is negative, because all the things are reversed from that one. But the common thing is that that's how we always state or define anode and cathode. Anode is where oxidation occurs and cathode is where reduction occurs. It doesn't matter whether what sign it have. If the oxidation is taking place at the electrode, then it is anode, and if the reduction is taking place at that electrode, that is cathode. Okay, everybody completed till here? Okay. Then we have advantages and
I have a question.
disadvantages of fuel cell. Yes, Khatija? Yes,
सर आई हैव अ
Khatija?
क्वेश्चन कि जब हाइड्रोजन जो है वो वाटर बना रहा है अंदर
Yes, hydrogen.
सर आई एम सेइंग जब हाइड्रोजन अंदर जाके वाटर बना रहा है सो एक्सेस
So,
सर कैन यू हियर मी
आपकी आवाज गायब हो रही है. हाइड्रोजन वाटर फॉर्म कर रहा है, उसके बाद क्या कहा आपने? Yes.
सर नाउ कैन यू हियर मी
Yeah, I can hear you now.
ओके सर आई वाज आस्किंग कि जब हाइड्रोजन अंदर जाके वाटर बनाएगा तो एक्सेस में फिर हाइड्रोजन तो बचेगा ही नहीं तो फिर एक्सेस में क्यों निकलेगा वो
The thing is that we continuously providing the hydrogen, right? So it is not
Yes.
necessary that all of the hydrogen turns into hydrogen ions. There is a possibility that some of the hydrogen stay unreacted. So the one which stays unreacted comes out as an excess fuel.
ओके सर ओके
Okay. Now quickly complete the advantages and disadvantages.
सर
Hmm.
ये जो एनोड है
Hmm.
मतलब H2 के आयन वो सॉल्यूशन में कैसे जाते हैं उधर जगह दी हुई है.
These electrodes are porous basically. There are very small pores over there. That's how it goes into the solution.
फिर इसके बाद और एडवांटेज और डिसएडवांटेज.
Very carefully. Yes, everybody completed? Okay. Yes, Khadija and Aisha? Completed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just take the screenshot and pictures of this and complete this before next class. So in that whole chapter actually completed. With this, I'm going to explain this and we are going to do the past papers in the next class.
वो एडवांटेज दिखाइएगा एक
Yes. Is everybody took the picture?
Yes, sir.
एडवांटेज
Yes, Sanya? Yes, Manahir? Are you done? Okay then. Okay then, take care everyone. Take care. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.